Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, on our last installment. At first we had Phoenix taking control of the situation, but then we have the return of an old friend, of an old partner, and an old rival. His name is Miles Edgeworth. And today, on this installment of Trials and Tribulations, we're actually going into courtroom battle with, of course, Edgeworth. So let us now dig deep and see what happens on the first trial in the final case on Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations. From the chapter, start! February 9th. February 9th, 9:47 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1.
Oh my. Mr. Lawrence feels that way about me?
Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed!
I'm sorry. I'm just highly accustomed to that sort of thing.
Worry not, and in any case, whatever it Worry not, and in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him.
Does that mean Mr. Lawrence is the witness today?
No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand.
Sister Bikini.
She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Dunham, correct?
That is correct. It wasn't me.
Very well then.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes.
You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed?
Don't worry. I've taken the necessary steps.
You have?
Itis. It is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what a friend of mine told me once.
Mr. Edgeworth.
You may pass judgment on me from the defense chair. You are the one to decide whether or not I am able to do the task I am entrusted.
Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands.
February 9th, 10 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 7. Court is in session for the trial of Sister Itis of Hosakota Temple. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before I had a chance to begin. I am ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant.
Objection!
Oh shit! Shit of karma! The prosecution stands ready. And you are Franziska van Karma, prosecuting prodigy. Van Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma? Legends are a thing of the past. I am a Van Karma. That is all. Upon special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case. You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor. Miss Von Karma, do you have anything to say? There is no such weakling as this man among those at the prosecutor's office. There isn't, but I'm sure once before in this court... Ah! I told you, there is no such weakling. What is that? Wait. I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. The bailiff, remove the whippet. I have no objection to the whip. You don't. The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee. But there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today. This promises to be interesting, Miss Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix Wright here today, but looking at you now, maybe this is what I have been waiting for all this time. Miss Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you, slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Allow me to add such things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. The stage is set. Now, continue with the proceedings, Your Honor. Very well. Miss Von Karma, please give an outline of this case with as little whipping as possible. The murder victim is the famed book. Let me read that again. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Dunham. Her body was found in the Hasakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well, the court accepts this photo of the scene of the crime. There's no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime. Very well.
please bring this witness to the stand.
And so it begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney.
Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Hold on here. I'm not sure about... not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight.
If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for witnesses with bad backs.
Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. Once again, your name and occupation, please. You don't owe me. Well, I'm the head nun at Autopsy Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got that? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone.
But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now.
Ah! The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave this sanctuary at once. You want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer.
In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question.
That's right. I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that.
Let us hear what you have to say then. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh? The night of the murder.
That night I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. So I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Autopsy Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see, and I needed a long hot soak. It was after I finished, just as I was heading back, that's when I saw it!
So it's simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Autopsy Temple.
Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple.
That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made.
There's only one problem with this testimony that I can see it. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle. Now are you, my Edgeworth?
Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. My apologies to all the fellow Canadians watching this right now. I'm trying to do you proud. The night of the murder. Well, there's only one thing we need to do. Just go right to here. You left Iris to help with what?
What do you think? The acolyte's training, of course. It was past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter the training exercises proper. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper.
Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple?
Well, the job is simply to watch over the acolytes so that they don't pass away.
Just to confirm this point again, that night,
You met Iris in the inner temple, correct? Yes, she's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions.
In this case, ring lights out bell at 10 p.m. and then in her room until the murder was discovered. All I have to say is this. Objection! Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all. Well. Don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all. The head honcho of Hazakura Temple. In that case, Miss Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all. No, she said a defendant or witness. Who is more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back. But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi. But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe she would lie. She does indeed have honest eyes. No! All people lie. That is my belief. Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie. Which means we must call your memory into question. Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you? Oh, well, that isn't what that isn't exactly what my memory is perfect, crystal clear, especially winter. Then I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that alone would do the trick. Then please add your comments about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. That night, I was helping an acolyte in a training. But, well, as you can see, my back likes to act up violently. Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. Objection! Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon-warding hood, correct? Of course. That is a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Hold it right there! Why do you have that?
Excuse me, my voice is I'm still waking up, mind you.
Hold it right there. Why do you have that?
That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Miss Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights out bell was rung.
What?
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, the defendant couldn't have been wearing this very hood. It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Wright's face every time he does it. Order in the court! Let the judge vote!
Sister, this hood, you have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. I see, a stockpile, surplus of hoods, eh? Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that Iris owned.
Then this is quite strange.
If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There's no contradiction here.
I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt. Witness, while I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision.
I'm not sure if I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath on your way back to the inner temple.
Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. Contradictory stimulation. Oh my. After my bath. Oh my.
I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple. And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was... Oh, Mystic Elise! And with that sword of all things! Mystic Elise was staying in the corner room, and which faces out onto the courtyard. This thing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
Again, I just woke up, so my voice kind of... You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would much be like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court. And me seeing it all from this very chair. Well, something like that. This judge... His imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe.
I would look the fool if I commented on such foolishness.
I bet you would, Sheena. I bet you would.
Anyway, this case is mine, Miss Edgeworth.
Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Well, not much I can say here. We skip all the way to the last statement. What makes you so sure of all this?
It's just like I told you earlier. I heard a noise from the courtyard. Okay? Thump! Just like that. You're one smart sister, I'll give you that. The autopsy report states that the victim's body was covered in bruises, indicating a fall from around 10 feet in height.
It appears that the witness was not mistaken, then.
Yep, I'm more than just a pretty face, especially in winter. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple.
You just said that. There's only 2 of them working there.
What's wrong, my Edgeworth? No snappy comeback remark?
Doesn't feel like she's lying. This is very powerful testimony, too. She claims to have seen the instant in which the defendant stabbed the victim. There are only 2 things I can believe in right now. My client Iris and my own abilities as a defense attorney. Makes you kind of wonder, don't it? Well, it says time was from 10 to 11 p.m. Cause loss of blood from stabbing back. Body fell 10 feet after death. Objection! Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say anyway.
Oh, please do. My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you are overlooking one thing. Miss Von Karma, would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report?
The autopsy report?
The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed. That's right! It says after death here, right here. The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim go on to take a 10-foot fall? Order! The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree?
That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And then she was then thrown out of her window, down into the courtyard below.
Were there any signs of a struggle in Miss Dunham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave a bloodstain, wouldn't you agree? Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood?
No traces of blood were found in the victim's room.
Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there were
I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honor is well aware. When a stab wound produces the most blood,
when it produces the most blood,
very little blood is actually lost at the moment of the blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
Indeed, with the weapon still in place. It acts like a lid on the wound.
That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking. We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions. Order, order, order! I must admit that this is a probable version of events. I'd expect no less from Franziska von Karma. Or in this case, I expect no less from Sheena von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point. It seems that we need a clear testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the truth, please. Witness, please remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape, especially my back and my mood. Sister, please give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here.
Franziska Sheena von Karma, masseuse and prosecutor.
With the whip? Oh boy. Alright, alright.
Further details.
When I looked across the scene, the sword was already in place. Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mr. Cadiz. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I woke, Mr. Gamey was stabbing Mr. Cadiz through the back! This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory. Von Karma strive for nothing but perfection.
Yeah,
right. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, my Edgeworth.
Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska Sheena von Karma. And I'm here to teach you just that. So we're gonna press on 3, like so. So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood?
Oh, that's right! Some of it splattered onto Iris too. When the defendant was arrested, she was meditating in her room, and her blood-fleckered clothing was neatly folded in the corner.
What?
Her clothes were blood-fleckled as well.
This seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press the point further. Press it. Going back to your previous statement, you said you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. But now you say you saw the victim bleeding.
Well, I say that I say that what I saw is what I saw.
But what did you say?
Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed. But I saw the girl pull the sword out of her, plain as day.
Pulling the sword out?
Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out.
Oh my. Witness, you will add this statement to your testimony.
Was that important?
More important than you can imagine. KBS World.
I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt. was smoothly drawn out. Smoothly, you say. You're saying you saw the sword smoothly slide out. Yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. That's right. The whole thing happened right next to the gold statue of Mr. Gaming. Mystic Elise was on the ground and Iris was stooped over her. The sword was buried up to the hilt. When Iris stood up, the sword in her hand just slid out of Mystic Elise's body. It slid out from that gaping wound. It goes without saying that if the sword was removed, there would be bleeding. Nothing out of place here. Is that really the case? I can't help but feel that something about this testimony is very out of place. That something which couldn't possibly have happened appears to have happened. This sword in which you're talking about, is it the Shishishito? Objection! Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here. What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar! But you're a handsome young man, so I forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about? In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to its hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. What do you mean? Please explain your God! Explain yourself! To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that.
Objection!
Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble? I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weak, should I so choose. The objection stands! I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If this sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in the body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The wound would be too large for the blade to completely stop from bleeding.
Objection!
That's nothing more than conjecture! In reality, the victim was stabbed with the shishishito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly and may still sometimes stop the blood loss. I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction. You still got more? This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it? If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword! No! Order! Bravo, Miss Edgeworth, raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that.
But what does all this mean? What proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but...
Having come this far, there can only be one answer. And that is... the weapon used to kill the victim was not the shishishito! What? A foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy, foolish fool. Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think this sword was the murder weapon? And I had spittle on my mic, sorry. Well, it's because Mr. Gaming was holding it. Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by this scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. It influenced us to believe that the murder weapon was the shishishito. Or should I read this again? It influenced us to believe that the shishishito was the murder weapon. Either way, I said it right. Order! So, maybe the shishishito was not the murder weapon. Even if that's the case, it changes nothing, Miss Edgeworth. The sister here saw everything. She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object. That's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. The obvious question? Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found? Answer the question, Miss Von Karma. No evidence of that kind was found. Why are you sweating so hard, woman? Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast. Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was it was just over there. What exactly are you going on board here? The murder weapon, I mean! Maybe! I think I might know where the sword was disposed of! You what?! Well, then. Sheena, what did you do? I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister. Impossible! What else? What else could this old woman have seen? Your fly open.
Oh dear. Zip. Location of the weapon.
I saw the murder at around 11 p.m. And after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there I saw tracks. Tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all.
Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time.
Well, I'm not in the best of shape. What with my back and my age, and, you know. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here's a photograph.
The snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, that certainly is an interesting theory.
The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple and run all the way to Dusky Bridge.
So we get tracks photo. Enter as evidence.
That solves your pesky little problem, yes. The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon.
Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please. We go to 5. Hold it! Refresh our memory. How long were you knocked out for?
Like I said, somewhere between 10 to 20 minutes. It's possible to get to the bridge and back in 10 minutes using the snowmobile.
I have to concede that is more than enough time.
Is that all you wish to concede, Miles Edgeworth?
You know what? Halt! Objection! Objection! I have to admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder.
You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems, Miles Edgeworth.
However, if what the witness says is true, why is there only one set of tracks?
What do you mean?
Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. Yeah, I threw the weapon into the river. Throw the river in the record. Throw the river in the record. If this was the case, then naturally there should be 2 sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge, and those coming from coming back.
Ah, you're right. You are forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction, now doesn't it?
I see.
Well, she was at the river. The snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow. What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth? Is there a flaw in her theory? This idea that snowfall covers one set of tracks. And I had to say, this idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks, there's a contradiction. A juicy contradiction! The tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Miss Von Karma, that is impossible. Would you care to explain why there's a rude index finger generally pointed in my direction? Actually, it's pointing down, dear. No need. The evidence will do all the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by snow, or so claims Miss Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by the snow? Well, okay, since you call it that way, let's see. There we go. Weather data. Original weather report for the night of the crime. Touch check button for details. And it says here, Eagle Mountain weather data for February 7th. Snow with occasional lightning strikes. Snow 7 to approximately 10:50 p.m. Lightning 10 to approximately 11 p.m. Lightning struck Dusky Bridge at 10:45. Around 30 minutes passed between the fire starting and going out. There's your proof right there. Oh, take that! Yes, take that, really. Take that in your funkin' wangles. Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime. Like I said, it was around 11. Of course, this means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report. Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but stopped around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 p.m., the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up. Order? Very well then. It looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miss Edgeworth, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things. Answer me this then. When is a weather report ever correct? Oh man, ain't that the truth, sister? No, you got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast, this is actual data. Forecast data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. Ask the weathermen, they have inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m. It's true, we cannot be totally sure, eh? What? How'd she pull that off? It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this. I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Very well. I, too, cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony. You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeworth.
Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where's your evidence that it already stopped snowing when the victim was killed? Well, right here. Take that! Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed.
That's right, but proving that is
incredibly easy. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow. With just one exception. And that is the victim herself, Miss Elise Dunim. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed, that's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph there should be 2 sets of tracks.
Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth?
To be honest, I am not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple. From the tracks it left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing.
Of course it was, because those tracks were gone.
Then when this person returned to Hazakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus the return tracks remained.
Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. What does, sister? There's only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it. The key was found in her room after the murder. Which can only mean that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple.
But Iris said that she was never there. But Iris said that she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance.
The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so she must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot.
That sounds right.
But what's odd is, when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple, I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge. You must have just failed to see it, sister. Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there, by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too.
But that isn't possible! Order? Order? Order in the court? What does all this mean?
So then, what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple.
If it had been, then a witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gates. Furthermore,
It wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be 2 sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used a snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble. I think we've arrived at this point due to the witness. Yes, I've nothing more to add. I told you everything that I know. Well then, that still leaves us with the same problem. If only there was someone, a witness, who could testify to having seen the snowmobile. A witness, Was there no one out, walking perhaps near Dusky Bridge on that night? I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do. That's a shame. Hold on. Something is coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Your Honor, I actually have an idea. There may be one individual able to help us. Really? You know someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder? I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are 2 things about him that do come to mind. Which are, first, that he saw something incredible on the night of murder, and the second being, this individual that I'm thinking of wandering outside on that cold night, in other words, he is our kind of idiot. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you're talking about? That idiot is none other than our own Larry Butts! My friend since grade school. I don't remember how we became friends, though. Take that! This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc Leduc's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting. This is Harry Ass. This is Larry Butts. The student of the victim, Elise Dunim. Her student. Interesting. Why was he wandering on the night of the murder? That's... I could tell them about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was perhaps searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him. Although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason. And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly was it that he saw? I intend to extract that from him right here in this courtroom. Summon this youth as a witness immediately. I have no choice, do I? I believe he's in the gallery for this trial. 'Twill not take him long to summon him. Very well. Larry. You may have escaped me yesterday. But today, I'm going to get everything out of you. The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Miss Von Karma, please see to the preparing the next witness. Understood, Your Honor. Good. Well then, court is now in recess.
So on that note, I'm gonna stop here, and in the next part, we're gonna be cleaning out the insides of one hairy ass. I mean Larry Butts. So see you around in the next part.